and there's still the rhetoric out there about the 51st state,
Hay algunas
but
discusiones
I
sobre
think people are
el estado
becoming
número
more numb to it than what they
51,
were a month ago during the Four Nations
pero
tournament. However,
mucho menos que lo
we are
que
still very
enfrentamos
aware
en
that
el torneo anterior.
there's,
Pero tenemos que tener
still
en cuenta
a different climate than what there
de que el
was
clima es
even the last time we played the U.S.
distinto.
in September. So we will make sure that we know what that is. But more importantly, I think that the U.S. I've heard from the camp that they're internally disappointed with their performance, and then in the media here in the U.S., I think that the media has been very aggressive about how disappointed they are in this team, and now they've turned a little bit and put it toward the players. So we would be very foolish that if based on those two factors, we don't expect a hard, real game and a big response from the U.S. national team. Now, that being said, our guys are excited. Our guys are excited about the challenge. The disappointment of the game against Mexico is behind us. I think we know there's some things that we can do better, but overall the performance was strong, and our team continues to show that we are a good team and that we're going to continue to get better. So that's really our focus, is to make sure that we understand exactly what the environment and situation is, exactly what the opponent is, and what are the next steps for us to be at our best.
Jesse, how are you?
Hi.
You talked about how the players would feel about this. You beat the United States in a September friendly. For you personally, what would beating the United States in a competitive match mean to you?
I wouldn't make this about me. I understand that's a fair enough question, but like even in September, it was about how good can our team be against the opponent that set the standard in this region for 20 some years, right? And we showed up big on the day. This team the situation is different. They have, they were in an interim coach situation. Now Pochettino is there, and he has a specific way of playing, and that is clear. The players are, like I said, I think are ready to show a big response. And so for us, it's more about, it was then too, and it is now. It's about the team and the progress of the team, and how do we continue to push our process. Again, once this window's over, then we only have 6, right? So every single second we're together, there can't be disappointment. There can't be frustration. There can't be anger. There has to be always the discipline and concentration to always be thinking about how to grow, how to get better, how to develop, how to prepare ourselves for next summer.
Jesse, I think it was in November you spoke to us a little bit about set pieces. There were 7 corners and quite a few free kicks on Thursday night. At one point in the second half, we saw you holding up a signal of sorts.
Yeah.
Could you talk to us about that moment, what exactly that was, and then just set pieces in general and that area, because I know it is a focus for you.
Look, so there's a few things with that. So that was us trying to give some signals from the bench so that we were clear on what things we were going to try at different times. We may do some of that again. I think the players also we're just trying to create real clarity as to what kind of things we want to try. And I really value set pieces. We haven't been able to get a set piece coach in yet for several different reasons, but we're getting there closer. I really care about this, and we need to become a good set piece team. In 14 matches, we only have 2 set piece goals. And probably the only area that I felt, we could do better in the final third, but part of when you play in these kind of games, and like we see with Mexico, they score on a free kick, they get an offside free kick goal that gets called back, but still they had really good service. They were really committed in those set piece situations. And even though we had more than double, they come away winning the set piece duel. And for me in international football, and when you have a strong athletic team, we have to win the set piece duel. This is a big way for us to push toward being really successful. So, I'm gonna make that point with the team today because we have training later, and we're gonna make sure that we have a better performance from a set piece perspective tomorrow.
Hi, Jesse. Doug
Hi.
McIntyre.
Hey.
Oxford's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Mauricio was critical of the U.S. players after the game the other night in terms of their competitiveness. The U.S. players said the same thing to a man. Mike Ivara said the same thing after that September friendly. What do you think that response that you're expecting from the U.S. tomorrow looks like?
Yeah, pride from them has to be, right? I would expect nothing less. And so, again, back to the first conversation is we are expecting them to really be up for the challenge tomorrow. right? Which is a difficult proposition for us, but also an exciting challenge, right? And for me, we're gonna learn a lot about our ability to regroup, re-energize, recharge, and now be focused and clear and go after another big match and another big opponent. So it's perfect. In many ways, it's perfect for us. And this can be what tournament play is. Like, you can have a tough loss in a tournament, in a World Cup, but your ability, it's always important to understand how you respond and how you're ready for your next challenge. And so that'll be our focus for sure.
Hey, Jesse, Brendan Dunlop, Canadian Soccer Daily. Does playing in the third place match, the early match tomorrow, afford you more rotation and experimentation?
Experimentation, I wouldn't say. I understand why you use that word. I would say, we're just trying to get the balance of which guys seem capable of being ready to perform again. And look, we haven't made lineup decisions yet, so we have to get through a couple guys picked up a little knock here and there, and just evaluating where guys are at physically. We'll get through training today. We'll prepare for what the U.S. is, and we'll probably, like I said, make decisions in the morning. I do think about, how to get certain guys going a little bit more. So certainly we've brought in Promise David and Daniel Jebison, but there's even guys like Nico Segur. There's Zoba Song, who we think really highly of. I think Matty Chouanier and Ishmael. I thought Ishmael had an outstanding game last time, and the combination of not playing as many games and Ramadan maybe caught up with him, and then he started cramping up. But Ishmael, I thought, was outstanding. So we have a few more guys to be thinking about. Okay, is this the kind of match that would set them up for success and introduce them into the team the right way, and then how much of our other guys are ready so that we have a stable enough foundation for what we think this game is going to require.
Hey, Jesse. I know you don't like making it about yourself, but what is it like for you to watch Tyler and to be on the other side from him this time?
I think this will be the first time that I'll have coached against Tyler, right? Yeah, that'll be weird. I haven't even thought about it. I mean, it's no secret how much I love Tyler and how much I believe in him as a player. Certainly when just evaluating playing against them, he's a big factor. I think he's the heart and soul of their team. So we're definitely going to be hard on him. We're definitely going to limit his space. We're definitely going to be aware when we play through the middle that he's incredibly aggressive at winning duels and winning balls and pressing and counter pressing. Maybe those are all products of things that I've taught him over the years, but what an incredible person. What an incredible player. I haven't thought about it, but we want to win tomorrow.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey.
You've talked a little bit about what you expect from the U.S. playing for pride and the opportunity that this affords your team as well. But I think that's a little bit of the hope, right, for the U.S., that they do find that pride and self-motivation in a third-place game, and for you guys as well. How much is this a test sometimes as a coach to see? I mean, likely the atmosphere is not going to be great because it's a doubleheader and people will come in for the final. The disappointment for both teams of not playing in the final, to be able to see the mentality of players of the team to find it in a third-place game and to have that level of competitiveness.
All I can say is I can talk about our group so this will be my 15th match. I think that's John has got to be ready. John. If you take, even the first game, I didn't think that the team didn't perform well or didn't have the right mentality. But if you just take out the first match and then go through from the second match to the 14th match, our guys have been up for the challenge every single match, right? They've been clear. They've had the right mentality. They work hard for each other. This is still what a team is to me. We can all talk about what's the tactical model? How do you use different players in different positions? What are your rotations with the ball? What do you try to do against the ball? What is your set piece plan? You can go through all this, but it's also for me, one of the things I hold dear is I always want to have a team that goes for it, that is confident, that plays fearless, and that never stops. And look, it would have been easy for our team at 2-0 against Mexico to be like, oh, the game's over. And we pushed until the final whistle. right? And so even when I hear some people talk about, oh, there wasn't a good performance and what about this guy and what, our team is up for the challenge and has proven that and shown that game after game, time after time. And that will continue to be a foundation of our identity.
Hey, Jesse. Henry Bushnell from Yahoo Sports. I'm curious, just both as an opposing coach now and as an observer over the years, are you surprised that this U.S. team hasn't progressed more over the past 4 or 5 years than they have?
Not my job. Not my job. But look, the one thing I know for sure is that is a team of very good players. Some players I've coached, players I've watched for years, players I've played against in Europe. I am not underestimating their talent, and I'm certainly not underestimating the response that they're going to give to this match tomorrow.
Hey, Coach. Katie Baker from The Ringer. I'm curious, in your time with the team, whether it's a game or a half or a sequence, is there a time that you look at as like a North Star for your team speed and a time where you're like, this is what I want to see, this is what we can be?
Look, we have certain principles and concepts that we hang our hat on as what our identity of football is, right? And you could go, I mean, I think there's a number of games in Copa America. You know, there's the matches that we've had in the fall that I think a lot of the ways that we want to play were clear and both in possession when we played against a deeper opponent, when we played against an opponent that wanted to press us. But what's really important to understand is within there is each opponent's going to also understand the things that we're trying to achieve and present us with different things. And so the game on Thursday is not going to look the same as the game tomorrow. And so our ability to be smart enough to understand who we are, but then to adapt what we're doing tactically, mentally, in every way to make sure that we can handle what each game is going to require. But certainly, you know, we want to play the game fast. We want to show. One of the things I say to the players a lot is we are very athletic. We have to always look like it, right? We can't ever get caught in games where we don't dictate the pace and the speed at which the game is played and the power in which the game is played. Like, this is what we have. This is what we're good at. This is going to be our identity, continue to be our identity moving forward. And then we'll continue to evolve little things to be good in the areas that we think are vital and pertinent for each opponent. I don't know if that is that. I hope that's a good enough answer.
Just to go back to the point about reaction to the game. What's the balance that you strike? Because you know I have been on the road with this team the whole time, and the emotional investment they've had to put into in crowds that were very loud, very raucous, just as the one last one, if not more. But there's a heightened expectation about this team. You're 15 games in.
Yeah.
You have, I was just doing the math, probably about 15 games minimum, depending on how long the run the Gold Cup is, all the way to 2026.
Could you give that to John? That.
I'll text him that.
Okay.
Where should the expectations be with this team? Should there be a little more patience as you talk about you still want to bring in a set piece coach and you still want to go ahead and solidify parts of your lineup and the depth and all that? Or should the expectations keep growing?
They should. Look, with success comes expectations. Like this is normal. And we're not afraid of that. You know, I mean, and by the way, any expectations that you or the public had, trust me, the expectations inside the team were even higher, you know? So of course they were disappointed, and it was a strange kind of game that led to us, you know, not achieving our goal, but it's not going to sidetrack us. Let's be really clear on that. Like, it's going to make us stronger, and we're going to use it to make us stronger. So, I think, and then, you know, about you're right. As the CSA we're still building. You know, we're raising funds. We're able to then internally create a higher level of professionalism and create more resources. So, and I'm hopeful, the goal is that by June 1st, that Kevin and I and Casey and everything, that we've now kind of laid a blueprint that's ready to be put into practice from June 1st all the way through to the World Cup, because I think the team needs and deserves that, to have a full support system around them for at least a year in the preparation to the World Cup. Now, different federations have it different ways. The U.S. Soccer doesn't have to talk like this. This isn't their reality. But I took the job knowing that this was not just a project of building a team. It was a project of building an association, a federation, and also building the sport, continuing to build the sport in the country. And I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about it, and it's not gonna, nothing that's happening in the political world with results, with anything that's happening, you know, in our environment is going to change our determination to put something in place that can be long lasting and can be very meaningful for the country.
Jesse over here, Jeff Carlisle from ESPN. You mentioned that you expected a big response from the U.S. team, but what were some of your takeaways of their performance against Panama? I mean, what jumped out at you, if anything?
Those games are all, yeah, Panama, Thomas Christensen is clever, right? And now he's played against the U.S. and he's maybe the kryptonite of the United States, right? But you have to give him real credit. He's an incredibly humble person. When we were here 3 weeks ago talking about his team, he liked his team, but he knows his limitations as well as in the association and where his players are playing. But he's gotten that team to wrap their head around the fact that they can be good against good opponents. And then he's created a tactical plan that tries to eliminate the things that the opponent's good at. So he's the classic, like, you know, nullify Lex Luthor, you know, like this is what he does against good opponents, right? But it's effective. So, you know, I mean, this is where I even say every opponent presents something different, and how do you take an identity that you're trying to build with a team and understand how to adapt it for what's going to be necessary in each match. So, you know, that part, I think, like, look, I get that people have been critical of the U.S. team, but I think that also, and just like us, people, if you want to be critical of us, got to give Mexico some credit. You got to give Panama some credit. I think both of those teams put together two very good performances, and now it'll be a good match in the final.
Jesse, you were critical of the officiating after the last game. Your players were critical of the officiating after last game. What kind of conversations have you had with the team since to prepare them for the, let's call them variables that the officiating
variables is a good way to describe
Thank you.
it. I would say that my frustration paled in comparison to their anger. And the reason why is because I think they felt that disrespect for a long time. Like, look, man, there's no debating. Okay. You could, there's always this 100% penalty, 1000% penalty, blah, blah. For me, it's a penalty. Just stop. Okay. Point. And the fact that it's not even reviewed is, like I said, inexcusable. So, you know, and I talked about Mexican savviness, and I talked about still our players responded well. They put some pressure on the referee, I think, but weren't disrespectful. As a staff, I know some other staffs, if they were in that situation in the halftime, they would attack the referees and put real pressure on them. We try to be a reflection of what we think our community and our country deserves, right? But it does beckon the question, how do we gain more respect and earn more respect in these kinds of situations? You know, so look, it's not about excuses. It's about competitively finding ways to make sure that we give ourselves the best chance in big games. And so, again, I think the players have moved on. And even I give them credit, because as aggressive as they were at the referee at the moment, then when the decision was made, they got right back in the match and then continued to push and do everything they could in the match. Like, this group is special that way. Their desire and commitment to try to do everything and learn and grow and be savvy and smart and good and strong and competitive and is all on track, right? And it's just now continuing to build those overall levels of how we handle everything and how we can help boost our chances of winning any match in every way. That's the best way to say. That's it. Thank you, John. All right. Thank you.